after you today.
I have to do intro today, don't I? Because we can't put the other one on because we're not at the home.
That's good. Yeah, we've started recording, so you might as well do it.
You're not the home of 2/3 one.
No, because it's plug.
Is that the official home?
We were home, yeah.
Sorry,
Did
plug.
like season 2, we've got our new home. It's at Plug. Episode 2, we've left it.
Episode 2 we've been kicked out.
Did the mini episode not even there either? And it was forget it.
2/3 One podcast.
So welcome
Absolute
to another
vagrant.
episode of 2/3 One podcast. I am Amar, aka HOPSTAIN, and as usual, joined by Jason, aka J-Ball's World.
J-Ball's World. And then we've also
Aaron
got...
from Mashed
Hi,
Beer.
I'm Aaron from Mashed.
What's your AKA?
Your AKA.
Mashed Beer.
Just Mashed Beer, okay.
It's a, that's an Instagram that me and my mate James set up in lockdown as an excuse to be drunk permanently.
Mashed.
And I can't remember the last time I posted anything on it. It's now my excuse to be drunk here as well. It's just my passport.
I liked your description of it in the last episode. It was a little bit of now.
Little bit of out.
Little bit of out, yeah.
My little bit of out on the internet.
Mashed.
And special guest.
Yes. We're here at Vault underneath PLAU, newly hosted by Rivington.
Yes. I'm Ben from Rivington.
Yeah. Co-founder.
Rivington Ben.
AKA.
Rivvy Ben.
AKA Barrel.
Barrel.
On Instagram, yeah. So
Yeah.
down the vaults.
How's this come about?
So we, you guys have been to like our tap room and stuff before. We're super busy in summer, and we kind of thought like it'd be nice to do something different in winter and look at doing a pop-up somewhere. And when Jeremy took this place back over, he who shall not be named beforehand, not Voldemort, but
He's close to.
resident person in Preston who's upset a lot of people in Preston. I sort of approached Jeremy and just said, yeah, you know, is there a chance to potentially do something in the vaults? But it's such a unique building, but I think it's quite a difficult building to staff. You've got 3 bars, you've got cocktails on one floor, you've got Fino tapas on another floor, you then got a rooftop terrace, and you got here. So we were like, well, look, we'll do the vaults.
It's got a rooftop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now a rooftop on it.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's just expanding.
Should have proposed there, shouldn't I?
Yeah, exactly.
Redo it. Yeah. Redo it. Redo it.
Missed the trick there.
We're just going for a drink.
So yeah, we just said, look, we'll take it on a pop-up basis for winter until probably the new year. Potentially we'll look to extend it a bit more if Jeremy wants to keep us here. And yeah, it's a chance for us to sort of have a bit of beer in Preston for a few months, and then come sort of Easter time onwards, the tap room's pretty slammed anyway, so we'll probably focus back on the tap room a little bit as well. But I mean, saying that, we'll see how it goes.
It's a really nice little spot though, Danny. It's
mega.
like it is exactly what you want to be in the winter, isn't it? Like in the winter, the pub I want is like no one knows it's there, but it's still full, and I'm just sat quietly drinking stouts until my eyes bleed. I know I haven't got a stout now, but it's time. Like it's just lush. It's really nice.
Yeah, no one can see
and there's
you.
a
Hide away.
massive well in the floor, which we were just talking about before.
40-foot well.
40-foot well.
Yeah.
Didn't want to walk over it, did
I
you?
did not want to walk over it. I will be going that way. So.
Perfect. So yeah, it's been really good so far. Like you can see that there is really no venue like this that I know of, outside of say somewhere like York or somewhere. And for it to be in Preston is amazing. So yeah, we've got a couple of events. We did an event with Pinter Barrel Brewing down here as well. Because again, where we are in Rivvy in the middle of winter on a Wednesday, Thursday night, no one's travelling out. I don't care who the brewery is. We could have Hill Farmstead there. People wouldn't bother travelling. They'll have a bit wet and cold and windy. So we can use this space for hopefully a couple of events. And
get more people.
Yeah, and if we do extend on until, say, March time, we've got a few people coming up that we might do something with as well and bring them down here and do some Meet the Brewers and tap takeovers and things like that.
Because you already had a Pinter Barrel?
Yeah, Pinter Barrel.
They already came? And
Yeah, they were amazing.
that go down well?
Yeah, really well. 2 lovely blokes from Poland just make some obscenely good beers. Well, they're part of a really big brewery, Pinter, or like really big in our sort of sense of things. And the barrel brewing's just that other side of it, and it was a couple of big imperial stouts, a couple of mixed ferm beers, all with Polish fruit. It was just nuts.
Oh, nice.
Has it inspired you to go into mixed firm?
Just get into that now.
Oh, shall we say for
Secrets.
That was so slick.
Secrets.
And then I've ruined it.
No, we are actually
That's what we're here for.
putting our first beers into barrel on Wednesday.
Exciting.
Yeah.
How many sort of
So we've
tries
got
have you had so far?
2 terrible ones on a small scale. Just where we're like, it looks easy, barrel aging. We'll buy a barrel. We got one from Brindle Distillery. Like, right, let's put some liquid in it. Then we tried it. We're like, fuck, that's horrible. So a kid over there, can't swear too much. Flipping heck, that's terrible.
It'll buff it out, don't worry.
Yeah. So we've done it properly this time. We've bought, got some Madeira barrels. We have some barrels from Penderyn, Welsh whiskey, which were Speyside before. And then we've got next week some Sauvignon Blanc barrels coming as well. And we've got a new, it's been here like 4 months now, who is very good. I'm very excited about barrel aging beers because I have no idea. So if they go wrong, it's George's fault.
A few years back, I went to this, like, I think I might have mentioned this on the first episode I was on with you guys, but I went to this like incredibly cool thing that was far too cool for me. I was out of place. That doesn't fit me. I'm not very cool. But it was
Is it Wetherspoons?
It was it's called Yates's. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of it. They have onion
Wine
ring
Lodge.
stack.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Wine Lodge.
They had Garrett Oliver, who's the head brewer of Brooklyn, doing like this like ridiculous tasting, like upstairs in a derelict building in Leeds. I just have call in, and one of the ones that he had was. The general theme of all of his beers was, I found this really weird thing, so I decided to just stick my standard Belgian triple recipe in it and leave it for 2 years. Here it is.
Yeah.
And one of them was a Mexican guy who was making mezcal.
Yeah.
Had decided to buy a load of bourbon barrels over the border and see what would happen if you bourbon barrel aged mezcal.
Yeah.
The result was he didn't like it. But then Garrett went and bought those barrels so that they were mezcal and bourbon and just stuck a Belgian triple in it and went, now taste it. And that was like, that was something.
Yeah,
like, that was a long time ago, and I can remember being like, oh.
Made you cool.
Yeah, here I am.
There's a story of one, I don't know the full story, I won't do it justice, but I think it's the Rare Barrel Brewery in San Francisco. And that was based on, it was a certain barrel that had been used in like 7 or 8 different breweries or something, and that's one barrel that every beer that went in it was just like banging. It was like wizardry or something. It just turned everything incredible.
I've heard that's how they make Madry now.
Barrel aged Spanish cerveza.
Cause plus the magic barrel equals
Magic barrel, and it's just next to the production line. It's next to the cannon and bottling, the magic barrel. She's a magic barrel.
Where's that? Is that Burton on Trent? That's your Burton accent.
Yeah, they've got a Spanish guy in just to make the Madrid.
Two things for the pod, right? Yeah. If at any point you want to make his life more difficult, all you've got to do is imagine something here, and he has to go back and green screen it later. So if you go like, oh, you know, the magic barrel, as you can see there, he has to do it. It's in his contract.
I know.
And also from the outset, I am looking for terrible puns or throwaway lines that I will then insist that you name one of your next beers.
Oh, I can do that easily.
just so we know.
We regularly struggle for
the magic
names,
barrel is so far. Get that written down on the list.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We make up beer puns and T-shirts.
Eventually, we talk about beer.
Well, speaking of which, what are we all on? Are we all on the same thing?
Beach House.
Beach
Are we all on Beach House?
I'm on another night in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is
a 4.5% session IPA.
It'd be really bad
Just
if you
test
didn't
them.
know, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
past that one. That was confident, wasn't
It
it?
used to be a pale and didn't sell very well, so we called it Session IPA, and now it sells really well. It's exactly the same beer.
We used to do. Marble used to do that. Do you remember with when Marble did? What was it? It was pint, and then it was metric.
Yeah.
It was originally a bitter.
Yeah.
They branded it as a bitter, but now if you get it, it's an American pale ale at 3.8%.
Oh,
it's just the same. No, you didn't. You had a metric.
Yeah.
No, it was
Pint. Pint is metric. It's the same.
You can have pints on cask,
That's what I
but
had.
the can's metric.
Yeah, that was the thing.
an actual
Because the
pint
guys who were
Facts.
weights and measures or whatever were like, you can't have a 500 ml can called
568.
pint when it's not a pint. Like that's misleading. So they called it metric.
And you think someone actually took the time to email in and say that?
It's the same people who used to go.
I'd love to meet them.
Excuse me, this clearly labelled can of American red ale has got a teddy bear on it, and now my child is drunk.
That was an
That's why
alcoholic.
Tiny Rebel had to like get rid of Kutch off the supermarket.
No,
My child is beating me up because of your teddy bear.
Your teddy bear. He thought it was tropical juice.
No, it was our taproom manager. He was he had so many people coming in saying, "Can I have a nice 4% IPA?" And he was like, "It's not an IPA." So he was like, "Have you got anything around about 4.5%, 5% IPA?" He's like, "Well, it's not an IPA because it's only 4.5%, 5%." So eventually, like, just call it a session IPA, and lo and behold, it sells.
It sells.
It's all right.
And people haven't got used to table beer yet, right? So you can't.
We just can't sell table beers for love.
I love table beers.
I'm sure other breweries.
We
you have them for
that was one of our first on the first step I was
Put
on
them
with
in
you
my
guys. It was
cornflakes.
let's have a table beer. What makes it a table beer? And it's just like Colonel table beer.
I think it's a better
unreal.
definition of a session
Yeah.
beer.
Table beer.
There's loads, like, I think Mark at Runaway said his American Brown. People are always telling him, like, "Oh, we love it. Can you brew it again?" And he sells like 2 cases in a keg. He's like, "Where have you all gone? All these people have told us you love it. I should be selling this in like an hour, but instead, it's like, yeah."
Because you have the same issue with your grisette, right?
Yeah, that's our worst business decision every. We've done it twice this year, but we love it, so we just keep on doing it.
Keep doing it.
Yeah,
become a running joke?
It kind of sells out. It takes about 6 months to sell it all. Then we'll just brew another one, which will just take over for another 6 months. So, and yeah, we've got a good.
Just walk past the barrels and go,
Just look at it's just a row. There's like 30 odd kegs of it, 50 cases, and I'm like, yeah, how many have we sold in the last 4 weeks? 0 kegs. 2 cases.
Here he is again. Grisette, yeah.
And then they just make fill at the tap room take a bit more. So yeah, we'll brew it again in probably April time and sit on it until October.
So it's not popular in the tap or anything?
It sells okay in the tap.
Oh, okay.
I mean, relative compared to DDH Pale, it's a really slow seller.
But it's slow, yeah.
But yeah, like we love them as brewers, but that's about it. So yeah.
Is that a battle? Like the stuff you like to mess about and go for is the stuff that doesn't sell
but it's
routinely.
It's like one of the reasons when we start the tap room, we put in 17 lines, and we're now somehow up to 19. And actually, we've got a Linda on the bar because we had a lot of farm trip stock left, so we're up to 21 lines. Wow. And the reason was we didn't want to have 17 lines of hazy pale. Like it will actually make us brew different things. So we've got a Blend of Ice, an American Brown, a Grisette, an Imperial Stout, a heavily fruited sour on at the moment. So a wet beer.
Should I tell them that I've never been to the tap?
yeah,
Should I
yeah.
mention that? That I've never
Well,
been.
it's actually a good segue.
I'm telling you, but I'm talking to you like you've obviously known you've seen it, haven't you?
Well, right, so as you mentioned earlier, like from the accent, I'm not from here. I've been here a couple of years, but well, as soon as I moved, I had a kid. Not me, my wife. I have decided to keep her though, both. It was her birthday yesterday as well. Happy birthday, Rosie.
You've got 2 kids, haven't you?
I have, yeah, but one of them was already born when I moved here. Right? She came with us.
How old's Rosie?
Rosie was 2 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
And Lily
birthday, Rosie.
is
Happy birthday,
5
Rosie.
next month. No.
You're gonna sing a happy birthday on the podcast?
No. No. It doesn't matter how many microphones come. It's still a no.
Let's try 4.
But basically, so where I live, like, it takes me about half an hour to get to you.
Yeah.
And it would be me driving.
Yeah.
And also I would be the only one drinking. So I've never found a way of getting there and going, because I'm not just going to go and have one beer. I'm going to go and, it's 19 lines, is it? I'm going to have 19 beers.
Every single one.
So I need to find a way of doing that.
It is
we
a
need to
good-
have a day trip.
Yeah, it is a good
Jolly boys
segue
out.
into the next section because I wanted to talk to you about the US model.
God, you are professional, aren't you?
I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better. Because
gonna
we had a
get
brief
there on
conversation at Farm
segues.
Trip. I don't know if you remember in 2000, you were telling me about the US model, and then also you mentioned it in This Week in Craft Beer.
Yeah.
And so the US model for you is just having a tap room,
Yeah.
hosting all your beers in that tap room,
Yeah.
and getting everyone to come. But the challenges are similar to what you're having.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting there and doing it. So I think my question to you is like, have you found it difficult, or has there been any challenges? Or because from the outside looking in, like it looks like it's working really, really well.
Yeah.
But as a consumer, like me and Aaron have a similar issue. Like
Yeah.
I want to go with the missus, but I have to drive,
Yeah, yeah.
and it is very, very difficult to do it. But that is the only place you can get Rivington.
Yeah.
So it kind of sells.
Yeah, I think it's worked, but it's also been relative to like our business model and plan. Like from the very start, we didn't take any outside investment, so we had a plan to grow slowly. Right. Like if we'd taken in loads of investment and we weren't pushing the tap room or getting the sales, then they'll be like, well, right, you need to start selling more places. So
start looking at the ROI and data.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the things about us. You know, it's not allowed us the most fancy kit, and especially the tap room early doors was cold, damp, small, dark, wet, everything. I don't know how anyone came up, but again, we've added sort of year and year on that. But we're at the moment, we're selling, I saw the figures this morning, about 28% direct to the tap room. Okay. If you include the local area, we're about 56%. Another 14% is what classes nationally, like not Yorkshire. Not like we have a run to Yorkshire. Not Yorkshire.
And that's right, you can't have it.
So how was it working with Northern Monks?
Percentages for the tax man? You just get those off, make sure it's all
sorted. No, I'll bleep them out.
I'll do that.
And then I think we're about 5% to Yorkshire and about 8% to Manchester and about 10 export.
That's always been the big
thing. I need to go back and check all these percentages. That probably comes to about 115. So
that's always been the biggest thing, right?
Very well.
Selling the best beer locally.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of pressure in doing that, but you have to be committed to do it.
Yeah.
And
from day one, we wanted that. And when we first started, stuff like Fog, we just sold to Manchester and London because people in Chorley had no idea what had sort of hit them. Yeah. And then now, actually, we've got like 2 permanent lines in Chorley. We've got permanent lines in Preston. And Preston's like a bigger market than like Manchester by far.
Now. Yeah.
And that American, I think you look at some of the American model like Treehouse selling 99% direct on a huge brewery. I don't think that's ever going to be possible in the UK because we have an amazing pub culture.
Yeah.
And we fundamentally, although we like queuing, we also don't like hype really. We don't want to drive a few hours to queue up and sort of, we want to knock stuff down a little bit. As UK meant like, it wasn't that good, it's not worth the drive. But in America you can sort of get away with it.
Justify
it, so for us, I think, getting around that 30% to the tap room puts us in a very good position. But then also, to be honest, I'd like to grow local. I'd like to make us be selling sort of 60-70% local. Right. We've sort of hit pretty much full capacity now with the barrels coming. Like for now, there's no plans to go any bigger. We'll be debt-free, touch wood, by the end of this year.
That's amazing.
We're on a 4-day work week start this year for all our employees, so sort of got a really good team in place. Hopefully look after them. We continue to sort of invest in them and sort of pay rise and everything else. And for us now at this point, if we were to scale up now, we'd have to increase electricity to the farm. We'd have to convert a roof on the barn next door, which was second-hand asbestos, so we don't really want to do that. We'd probably have to get a bigger brew kit, another cold store, another glycol chiller, another van, another brewer, a salesperson, probably warehouse person. So we'd have to spend £500,000. Probably not be any more profitable, and to be honest, probably not any happier in our working day.
More resource, more work.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be a lot harder to do the 4-day week. There'd be a lot more beer to sell, and the market is tough at the moment for a lot of breweries. I mean, Alpha Delta went this week.
I just learned. First Chop have just gone as well. Ryan just told me.
Yeah.
Who else I was at Chain?
I messaged Ross Alpha Delta, and he said
Was Alpha Delta, was that the brewer who'd come from
Box Social before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he started Alpha Delta. Great beers. We collabed with them 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And he had some issues with, I think it was I won't put it in any staff. Some issues there, and then he said some of the beers weren't coming out right. He had to put 4 or 5 batches down the drain. He's just like, I just don't have.
That's it.
He's like, I haven't got the heart to do it anymore. He's like, I can't keep doing it. So he sort of winded Alpha Delta up.
I think maybe the previous brewer of Alpha Delta then went to Vaux, which is the brewery in Sunderland.
Yeah.
They were a kit sponsor for years, like in the 90s and whatever, and then they've just reopened.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was, I might be wrong on that one, that was Alpha Delta's previous brewer who went there, and their old stuff before that was pretty good as well, so that was quite a big coup for
they had some great beers.
For Vaux.
So not a massive tangent from the American model. It's
working.
Yeah, it's working. And it's been slow and organic, and we've sort of done it the way, like, we've taken our time to do it, and that's always sort of been our ethos a little bit. We're not here to, have rapid growth and sell in 2, 3, 4, 5 years time. Like I hope we're around in 20 years. Like we're 10 next year.
Oh wow!
Oh,
really?
10. Yeah. The tap room's 4 on Wednesday.
Wow.
Happy birthday, tap room.
Happy birthday to you.
You're always singing your daughter.
I'll sing it to the beer.
But not to Rosie.
And then, the brewery we registered 9 years this December.
Wow.
But we were on a tiny scale for the first 6 years of that, making some shocking beer, and then gradually got a little bit better. So here we are.
Since we all, you mentioned the scene in here, since we sat down together, Overtone have announced their little thing on what is it? What's the Nico?
Yeah, next to Nico.
So that makes you can now go from Overtone to Plug and Taps to here and Chain House. That's pretty mega for Preston.
Preston's
really,
very lucky.
I think it's good
with what we can drink.
This
was like a nice little cherry.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to do it for both parties. It's similar with Nico, his upstairs space wasn't really utilised.
Yeah.
Get someone else to sort of go in, and similar here, it was really hard for the PLAU guys to staff it. So why not? We'll do it instead. And we just pay basically a percentage of turnover.
Thing. I don't think I've ever had a bad Overtone beer. Well, I've definitely not had a bad Overtone beer. I don't think I've ever had an Overtone beer that wasn't at least very good. I think they're mint.
No, they're very, very good.
Excited to
I know they
have them on the doorstep.
They talked last year about trying to set up a tap room in Glasgow, and it's still sort of not happened. So for them,
it's funny that it's here, for them, obviously.
I think a lot of people thought that in the UK craft beer forum. Everyone was like, "Why Preston? Why Preston?" I didn't say anything because I can't be bothered, but I'm just thinking, Preston's a good scene, man. Get yourself down there.
How many Weatherspoons does Preston have?
2.
2.
Oh, 3.
Weathertoons.
No, 2. Yeah, sorry. The old one and the new one. 12 tellers. Yeah.
Is that your barometer for good towns? The Weatherspoons.
So two spoons. Slugging letters.
The northeast scale. The scale of a good town.
What are your top 3 favourite Weatherspoons?
Good question.
Can I come back to that? Can I have more?
Have you been to the Sir Henry Tate in Chorley?
I have been to the Sir Henry Tate in Chorley.
I can't be in top 3.
It's like...
I took Ross from Alpha Delta. They wouldn't let me in there because I had cargo pants on after brewing. And he had a baseball cap on, tattooed up. And he's like, will you let me in? I'm like, yeah, no problem. He's like, what is this town? So I had to go to Asda and buy some jeans for me so I could get in.
It wasn't the trousers. It was because you admitted that you had a job. That's why they wouldn't let you in. Sorry, mate. You're employed, are you? You're not
employed.
This is not gyro. I'm actually going to think about that for a bit. Yeah, there was a one in Sunderland. It's not there. The pub is still there, but it's not Spoons anymore. Which was called the Lambton Worm, and that was good because it's a local legend about a massive snake thing, and it had huge steel bits of snake hanging out of the walls. That was good.
Mint.
Like that.
That's top 3 worthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going in hard on this.
Have you completely
come back for the top 2?
Are there Weatherspoons tickers? Guys who try and go to every single Spoons in the country.
Yeah.
Wow, that's commitment.
But it's 400.
Where do you think we're going after this?
Start ticking them off.
Great phrase.
World record for ticking spoons off in the quickest time.
There's one at the end of the road.
I think this was. It was
Just hit it.
It was on one.
Oh, was it on?
What he cracked open was a 21.
Okay.
But it was so good. So good.
Yeah.
Randomly, Toronto's got quite a good crafty scene now.
Was it?
It was very random to find. I didn't think there was going to be a thing good there.
I'm trying to think who else. Is Solomon Hill based in Canada now? I can't remember. And there was Thingy who Cave were bringing over for ages.
That lager guy. There's a guy that finds loads of lagers out from there.
I can't remember the name of them. Oh well, but basically Cave distributed them for ages in the UK.
There's 2 near. There's Bone Shaker, who are near where Goose is, and there's another one.
Yeah.
Which is Steam Whistle.
Yeah.
Are the 2 biggest names in Toronto, and I didn't think there was anything else, but I just kept finding random stuff.
But it ties into the American model. That's kind of what. That's amazing about America. It's what I'm hoping to see more in the UK is that, if you come to, you shouldn't really be able to get. Well, we're a bit bigger, but Chain House. I know he sells a bit to trade, but for me, he should be doing way more through his tap room because really good beer.
Yeah.
And if you're coming up from London, you come to Preston, it should be straight away I want to go to Chain House because I want to drink it at source in Preston. It was the same. We did a collab with Howling Hops, and there's a brewery. I think it's Old Street Brewery, just across the industrial estate from them. They must be 90% direct sales. They had a dry Irish stout on nitro, which was mega. And I was like, yeah, I'd never even heard of them. The beer was brilliant. So it kind of goes to show that there are still the small breweries who will do more and more direct. And even on a massive tangent, but like Adam from Verdant was saying in the podcast the other day that Gypsy Hill do 80% of their sales just in London, and they're the biggest independent brewery in the UK. No, in London, sorry, not the UK, in London.
I don't see very much of them anymore.
That's what I mean, 80% in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never even noticed that until you used to see. Is it a Hepcat, isn't it? Yeah, you used to see that everywhere.
In London,
I think always. Yeah. No, like obviously, I remember the designs on the cans more than anything else have just been like it was always just a person. Like I don't know whether it was a member of their staff or whatever, but like a little caricature of the person. I've never even clocked that they've dropped. That's weird.
Yeah.
That'd be
good.
Preston is booming. Does it mean it's going to crash? It's just going to go.
No.
Like cryptocurrency.
He's really excited about it until he realises in like 6 months' time that it means the gentrification's coming and you're going to get kicked out. It won't be for us anymore. We won't be allowed in. All of the actual cool people all want to be in it. We're not allowed in Preston. We have to stay in Leyland.
We need to make as many episodes as we can quick.
The Leyland beer scene. That's where it's going to be next.
Right, tell us about this, mate.
Yeah, so
go on. You've got a plan.
I didn't memorise it, unfortunately, but this is a beer from your new Flow series.
Yes.
Partnering up with friends outside the beer community to showcase people and projects that have inspired you through passion and work ethic, like yourselves.
I think Pud wrote that. Not me, but it's on the side of the can, isn't it?
Yeah, I stole it. Didn't make that up.
No.
But yeah, it's finish. No, sorry, the finish is the finish line, which with Dutch professional cycling team.
Yeah, so basically the site. I can mention this, it'll be fine. The sponsors of basically pro cycling teams are sponsored, so it's not like Man United or something. They would be like Ineos sponsor the UK team. These guys are team DSN Firmenich, but Firmenich is a health food company, so they didn't want to be on a beer label. So basically we just had to put the team members we did it with and allude to it. And if you look at the pictures, you know, cycling, you know that it's team DSM Firmenich. So sorry if I got any copyright or ruined any sponsorships for cycling teams.
It is a GDH Pale with Nelson, Motorwecker, Pacific Sunrise, Riwaka, Comet, and Citra Cryo.
Yeah.
Insane hop profile.
It's a session IPA.
Session double dry hop ale.
That's a new one, isn't it? Double dry hop session IPA.
Maybe we should start calling it that instead.
Double dry hop session.
No, well, one of those is Hop Revolution blends, which is a blend of Nelson, Motorwecker, Riwaka, Pacific Sunrise. So they blend them all together.
Right. That's like Phantasm. Is that a blend?
I don't actually know Phantasm. I think it, but there are. So YH do Cryo Pop, which is a blend.
That's a blend, yeah. Sorry.
And I think Barthos has a blend of something as well. So yeah, seems to work. It's quite nice.
Yeah, I've not actually tried it, so I'm going to give it a.
Let's go in.
So the pressure's on.
I'm on there just agreeing that it's quite nice before he's tried it.
Oh,
Delicious. I'll try it.
I've tried it. It is. It is very nice.
That's 4.8.
Yeah, quite limey.
well, that's
Oh, it's super citrusy.
Yeah.
That's the Motorwecker, right? That's delicious.
Thanks.
No, it's really good.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm not just saying that because you're here as well. But, yeah.
It was the last 20 kilos of Hop Revolution blend needed to use up, so we put it in this beer. So worked really well.
That's really
cool. But no, the Flow series is it's quite well, not a rip-off, but
Patrons.
Northern Monk have done a Patrons project. Track have done it as well. With sort of working with ones, and yeah, just came across. Like I'm a big cycling fan, and a guy randomly came to our tap room a couple of years ago, and I pointed at the cycling jersey, and he said, "Who's a cyclist here?" And I was like, "Oh, me." I was like, "Oh, why do you like cycling?" He's like, "Yeah. I coach a World Tour team." I was like, "Whatever." Bullshit. And he just left his card. I was like, "Wow, he really does." Like, Googled him, and he kept coming in. Guy Matt Winston, really nice guy, and now we've got. So two of the coaches came, and then one of my friends is now a mechanic on the team as well. Wow. The team owner came out, and like we're taking our beers to the final stage of Tour de France to give out to the riders and stuff.
At the end.
Yeah. So part of the idea is I think it's where beer's going to go to a little bit, and probably part of the brewing the beer I'm so proud of is the community side of things. That it's not just going to be beer in the future, it's going to be like the community and the people. And so we brewed the beer, launched it at the tap room. 2 of the riders came over as well and sort of told stories and things like that, which is really good. So yeah, we've got this one. The next one probably in January is with Josh Charnley, the rugby league player. So it's his testimonial year next year, so we're going to brew a beer with him and again do an evening around that. The third one's potentially going to be with a
2 Thirds One podcast.
So it's actually going to be it's actually going to be with a podcast, but it's that's not going to.
Peter Crouch's podcast.
Puddings is massive.
One of my friends was involved in the 2 Shots podcast, which is now finishing, but he's got his own one. And then we're already looking at potentially the 4th one is one of the guys who comes to our run club, a guy called Ollie France, who's leads expeditions and he's an explorer, and he's just travelled by himself, like human-powered, from the lowest point in Africa to the highest point. So from like Djibouti to the top of Kilimanjaro.
We're not making this series, guys.
No, athletes.
Cycled to the base of Kilimanjaro.
You have to write what you've actually achieved.
I've drank 20 pints in a day.
Didn't sing happy birthday to my daughter.
It's like happy birthday to a brewery and not a child. Probably other stuff.
But he's looking to be the first person in history to travel from the lowest point to the highest point on all 7 continents.
Oh, mad.
Like unsupported. So he's going to South America in January to the 2nd leg. And then the Asia leg's quite a big one. He's got to go from, I think, the Caspian Sea to Everest. So, yeah.
I think one thing I wanted to point out was just like, we see this in Preston now a lot more.
Yeah.
Like, you're not just collaborating with breweries. You do collaborate with breweries a lot.
Probably can't collaborate with too many breweries
Your
sometimes.
CV's really impressive, but like Preston Beer Girls, stuff like that, Northwest Beer Association, just stuff like that, like collaborating with communities as opposed to breweries. Like, we're seeing it a lot more in Preston, and it's awesome. And I think this Flow series is like a copy of that as well.
But I think it's like what a lot of brewers are doing really well now, and even like look at like Ryan's doing, like community, and Preston Beer Girls has been amazing to have. We've got 40 members coming out regularly, sort of pushing the beer scene in Preston. But then, like for us, we've got a run club, we've got a cycle club. They had the spoken word thing at Ryan's the other night. So I think that's what a lot of beer scene was built around in the UK for years. In pubs was community and
people getting together.
And meeting up. That's what beer was all supposed to be a part of. And I think early days the craft beer scene got lost with chasing hype or hobbyists or ratings. And actually what it comes back to.
Chasing hops and cohort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's go back to and then the community, and that's definitely what I'm sort of, I think, most proud of, is seeing 30, 40 people come to the run club, or see families come down to the tap room and see the cycle club and see the local scene grow.
Can we set up one of those beer marathons at the farm then?
Yeah.
Where you have to do a 10k, but each lap you've got to down a beer in between.
There's one in America, isn't there?
Yeah. Andy Norman from IPA Ventures. He went round. They have to. It's a mile, so it's 4 laps of a track. We have to drink a can every lap.
Yeah.
The record's like 4 minutes 11 or something. You just see people spewing up at the end. Yeah.
But the funny thing is,
No.
a big old like race, run, bike, whatever. Beer's one of the best things you can replenish your body with, because it's got a good balance of everything. Hydration, sugars.
It's just scientific or opinion.
I'm going to say it like...
You sound very sure
Obviously, our points of view here are very different, because you're talking to them, but I'm looking at them reacting to you, and you could just see the words bullshit written in 4 eyeballs there. They're like, this guy's full
It
of
was
shit.
intrigue. I was like, have I been doing this wrong all this time? So I've just been necking pints after I finish a race.
It's one of the better things you can throw down your snake.
Well, there is an element.
I mean,
of water.
not an imperial stout like.
Are you that doctor from the 50s who says Guinness, it's good for you? Is that you?
Well,
Still is, isn't it?
the doctors that recommend smoking Camels because they're better for your throat.
Yeah, basically the smooth thing.
I've never seen that.
Have you not?
Is that a real ad campaign?
Yeah, something like 6% of
less cancer.
60% of doctors recommend Camels because they're smoother for your throat. Those are the days, weren't they?
Yeah. I mean, there was even asbestos. Like, it's good. Posters back in the day.
Asbestos is good. Yeah.
Eat asbestos.
Yeah. Brought to you by Big Asbestos.
You want a warm house? Asbestos. That's it. But no, it was in He was on something I was reading on, and it was an American, one of those like small town races. Yeah. But at the end of the race, they just had stacks of local brew.
Yeah, I mean, in fairness, they give out Erding alcohol free at loads of like Manchester Marathon and like.
Yeah. Would you ever go alcohol free beer? Would you ever do one?
We don't have the capacity. And
is that the right word?
Mash Gang do too good a job.
I don't know what that means, but I see it on the bottle. Alcohol-free Erdinger.
Yeah.
It's isotonic.
Yeah, it does.
It means nothing, does it?
It means salt and sugar.
Isotonic.
It just means salt and sugar isotonic.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
Salt and sugar.
Yeah, we just need to get back in because you've sweated it all out. Oh. So actually, you were right.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, salt and sugar.
Have you collabed with Mash Gang? No. What do you know?
Jordan. If he's watching.
There you go.
Yeah, defo.
Because I've still not tried a Mash Gang beer.
Have you not?
Shut up. Still.
Oh, I've had.
That's your January.
I have had one.
That's your January podcast, sort of.
Yeah.
Just drink Mash Gang.
I know they actually killing it. Like,
Yeah, like they are the nuts.
The best.
Like I had a month off in June, and I just bought Mash Gang in, and I generally couldn't tell. No, they do little things like they'll put chili in the beer, like a little bit, to simulate alcohol and burn.
That's smart, that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, very clever. The pales and lagers are nuts. The stouts are mega. But that's the thing, they do a whole range. Like they did the sour with Vault City and stuff as well. Yeah, it was really, really impressive. And
There's a new lager out, isn't there?
yeah, American one.
It looks like a PBR, doesn't it?
Madrid.
It's a
Madrid.
Look,
Carlin.
it's Carlin. It's a balling clack label from Mash Gang.
I don't know why I've decided to make today Madry Day. Like, just mention Madry as often as I want. Really.
Madry Sunday.
From our sponsors, Madrid.
Yeah. Get your macro beer here.
Can I ask you? You were saying about the collabs and stuff.
Yeah.
For
Is this a Cask you a question?
Oh God, yeah. Ask you a question. No.
no, that's later.
No.
Spoiler.
It was just sorry. No, I had it was either a stout or a porter from you the other day, with a coffee one. And it's
Stout dilated particles.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether that was the one where you're changing like the coffee powder
Yeah,
as well.
so we
and
did
you
one.
rotate that.
We did one before called Void Space Ratio.
Yeah, I've had that.
And then we had it on sensory, and then two of the brewers like, is there any reason we make it 7%? And I was like, no, we just always have. It's like, well, can we do a 5% one instead? I'm like, okay. And we've done it, and it's actually sold a lot quicker than 7%. So
will you swap the coffee
ABV
partner with that at all or not? Is it just
no,
that is it?
but that is it. But we have talked with Blossom Roasters about an idea from months ago. We've not managed to get it through yet, but doing maybe a coffee beer pairing with like 4 different breweries, 4 different roasteries.
Cool.
Now it has been done in the past, but it kind of went away because we always put it in stouts. But I know Simon have done like coffee IPA
Yeah,
before.
I've had a coffee IPA.
Coffee sours are I've had coffee sour before, which are
See
nuts.
that? Yeah.
Coffee sour.
Yeah, it's like the natural.
I
Like I went
didn't-
to Townhouse before here and had flat white.
I've only had
hand-in-hand
one coffee
coffee
IPA. I've only had one coffee IPA and it didn't do much for me. But I would like that was just one.
Yeah.
If I've had one, it could have been a bad version of the good thing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't know that. But
But no, the local, really good, like good ethos and stuff.
I just
so
didn't know whether
stuck
that
with
was a thing that you were doing, like swapping around different roasteries. Because I know, like obviously, what's the one in Blackburn? Exchange. Coffee, that's, you know, like a decent like local one.
There's
as well.
loads, isn't there? There's Atkinson's. There's
Atkinson's are mega. I think Farmyard do a coffee stout with Atkinson's.
Atkinson's.
I think so.
There's, I get stuff from Carrington up in Hatch End.
Yeah.
There's that. other
Salford
one.
Roasters, a couple of Manchester breweries do stuff
Yeah.
with.
There's someone in Skem.
What's that?
There's someone in Skem. There's some at Farm.
Skem?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I was surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocked.
She went,
Just on a roundabout somewhere in Skem, obviously. Just all there is.
might be just stolen off a truck and someone else's coffee. But yeah, there's a I can't remember what it's called. Some at Farm.
Yeah.
And they've started roasting.
No way.
Skem Farm.
Skem Farm. Skem Farm. Skem Rod. Skem. Coffee.
I don't even know I don't know where Skem is.
Skemersdale.
Yeah. It's like,
That doesn't help him to say
Sounds
it.
awful.
it's like between
It sounds like an insult.
like Liverpool and Wigan or something.
Yeah, on the way to
basically.
Is it
Liverpool.
nice? Is it a nice place?
Much there,
Are
really.
you going to have this bit in the podcast or not?
Woof it out, don't worry.
Fine.
Adds to the allure of the podcast.
It was beep.
It's a unique place.
Here's a map of
like-
Skem.
Skem.
I had to do that last episode.
Here's
where
another
I
map of Scam.
reference some dog shit joke that I made during lockdown on an Instagram post. I'm like, you need to put that up there now, please. I had to actually go back and do it.
Go find it. Amazing.
That's why there's always a gap there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there is always a gap somewhere.
That's the green screen gap.
That's the Aaron said something that needs to go in the podcast gap.
Up there.
No gap next time. Not to future me. Don't put a gap when we film people. We're all going to sit tight on one chair. Super close up.
Squashed, close together.
Right, I've got one last serious question before,
go on, yeah.
before we get to the next section. I want to know what's left for Rivvy. Because, and this is a huge list, right? Farmers, you got a huge brewery, you got a huge tap room, you got a campsite, you got a bar in the city centre, you got a yearly festival, you got local distribution, national deliveries, you got you're in the 500ml can club, rum club, bike club, insane collaboration TV. You do amazing pails, you got horror dipper series, Halloween series, coffee series, you got the new flow series, and you attempted to grow your own hops.
And he's just a chilled out entertainer.
What is left? Sure, what's next?
We tried to buy a blimp for farm trip this year, but it became too expensive. So I
Wasn't expecting that.
So I think next year we will try and get the blimp.
Yeah.
But we said it was going to be like Phoenix Nights, like look up, look at the blimp, look at the blimp.
How far away is that? No, it's getting closer. It's getting
You need
closer.
a jingle. It's the farm tree. As you come into the
Welcome to the farm tree.
Mick I own the brewery with is like don't want to spend on anything ever. But it was like, we need to get a blimp. I was like, Mick, do you know how much they cost? I'll be fine, we'll get one. And actually the blimp wasn't too much, it was the cost of helium, which was ridiculous. So if you know any good helium
Something
supplies.
that I know about because it was my daughter's birthday yesterday, if I've mentioned it or not. We needed some balloons.
So how much helium have you got?
I just nicked it out of the nearest blimp.
Drag a blimp down. Yeah. You don't really see them anymore either, do you? They used to go like tyre garages all the time and stuff.
Blimp.
Yeah, so next,
That would be class.
watch the space for farm
But it was
trip next
mixed
year.
firm. I think we answered it earlier. It was mixed
Yeah,
firm, isn't it?
it's
I think.
we always want to get a position that we're sort of happy with. So the bigger brewery, it's a 2,000 litre brewery. We're not big by any means. Like this year, we'll probably do just shy of 2,000 hectolitres, so about 200,000 litres. Next year, probably maybe get close to 2,500. For reference, Pomona are about 4,000, 4.5. Track are about the same size. Daya are, I think, 13,000. Verdant around about 12, 13. Northern Monk are 50,000 hex. So, it's way bigger than we are. So we kind of wanted to get to the right size, get the right team in place we have now. We've got 3 brewers, which can work on the 4-day week. Then once that was in place, we also wanted someone to come in with the expertise to do barrel-aged beers, so we've got someone now as well. So yeah, that was the next. We'd always wanted to do mixed firm, but what we sort of found early doors is we felt like we had to jump on styles. Like we did a brute IPA really early, so like we can't miss out. We've got to get a brute IPA out there. Then we did one, and it was awful, and the style died. Whereas mixed firm and barrel-aged beers are going to be around forever. Like
You take your time.
there's no rush. People will be drinking them in 50 years' time. I'm like 99% sure. So
You feel less pressure than to go with what everyone else is like.
yeah,
What the banging thing everybody wants.
yeah.
To mix.
We've sort of held back this year on like Phantasm and thiol promoting yeast. It's been big in America, but it's not really taken off in the UK. Like Dave have done one, Track have done a couple.
What is? You've said Phantasm earlier, and I don't know that.
Phantasm.
I think it's a hop company. I'm sure.
So Phantasm's done through YCH, Yakima Chief Hops, but then the thiol promoting yeast. The idea behind it is, from what I understand, I've not done enough research into it either.
Is this
it's supposed to be like hop unlocks. You're supposed to be able to unlock flavours from Centennial that you'd never get before. But apparently a lot of the issue is the yeast you get in the UK isn't genetically modified, whereas in America it is genetically modified, which allows you to unlock those flavours. So again, we were early to start the year like, should we do one? And we've not done one, and we're kind of
I did see
okay
a few of them a few months ago with the. It was letters that I saw. What is it?
GMO.
No, not genetically modified. The weird thing hop that they're doing. No.
It's normally before it gets.
But I think this is half the issue with the stylists. I don't really understand it, and I work in the industry. So to get it to
produce
explain
it.
it to consumers, you're then selling it to the 1%. You know, people coming down here or families to tap aren't going to say like, what yeast have got, what thiol promoting yeast have you got? Did you mash hop that beer? Out of interest, like, so
No.
So
It is
much
the
of it
1%,
now,
isn't
like,
it?
it's
It
just like getting on that hype bit is not that's not where everyone is, and it doesn't actually last. Like it is just a lot. It's the latest thing that the people who were mad because they liked X brewery before you liked X brewery. Their newest thing is I knew about this before you, and then they'll be on the next hype before it's that, and it's just
exactly. And we see it now. Bizarrely, we've had people come to tap room saying, like, "Oh, this doesn't offend you, but like Fog's a lot like Hazy Jane." I'm like, well, at least they know what hazy beer is now. A few years ago, they'd come in, take one look at it.
I'm not drinking that.
When's that going to settle out, lad? I'm like, never. You could stare at that for the rest of your life and it would look like that. But at least now, again, consumers getting into it. And I think
I'm trying to unpack that as a thing that you would say to someone. I don't mean to offend you, but this beer is a lot like Hazy Jane.
But you think that we think
that's the style of thing.
But a lot of what I think happened in lockdown was people at home and they're like, right, my friends aren't around to judge me. I don't have to drink that. I don't have to drink that Madry. I'm going to try this weird craft beer called Punk IPA and Hazy Jane that everyone's been talking about. And they drink it, they're like, oh, hang on, there's a brewery near me. I'm going to try their beer as well. And
there's this tiny independent brewery I've never heard of before called Brewdog.
Brewdog.
It's this micro IPA called Punk.
But have you tried this Elvis juice? It's amazing.
But we're like, again, we find the tap. It's more. People lose their minds if we're out of stock of Fog or Beach House for a week because again, we've got all these taps, but they come for the same beer week in, week out. Or you get groups come down and they're like, oh, we'll have a pale ale or session IPA, and they're like, oh, that was nice, I'll have that again. Don't really know the name of it, but they recognise the logo and they see it around town. And actually, that's going to be the future of craft beer. It won't be, no offence, nerds, like getting like 4 or 5 thirds of something and whatever. It will be people who just grow up drinking, independent sort of craft beer.
And then they want that.
Yeah.
As a brewer, then, what's your take on? Sorry to go wildly off our running schedule here, but like supermarkets is a massive
inside.
thing. Supermarkets is a massive thing, particularly during lockdown.
Yeah.
And like for me, I follow Domo on Instagram and all that and the stuff what he was putting out with Tesco.
Yeah, that was weird. I went at Domo.
Really, that was mint.
Took off.
It was
mad.
It was at a time when the world was shutting down. He was like going, all right, well, what, I don't know, what 10% tipper can I get Northern Monk to make to put in the supermarket and stuff like that? It was mad. And even back then, all the other supermarkets were doing pretty good stuff. Now I think it's winding down. But what's your take on supermarket craft, if you want to call it?
I have no issue whatsoever. And one of the reasons I can't is we have a collab with Northern Monk and Morrison's.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
We've still got one in there.
No? Order of the Faith?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or is it Order of the North?
Order of the North.
One of them. Order of the North.
I might have
Order of the
even
North.
had it and not even clocked that it was
because I was going to bring up working with Northern Monk, so
Yeah.
I did research. You've had 4 collaborations with them.
Yeah.
One recent one.
I think we've collabed with them more than... No, Chain House must collab with the most, obviously.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it creates a little bit more awareness for us. Like, we'd never go down to the supermarket. My previous sales job, I dealt with supermarkets, so it's not...
So I didn't mean it as you as a
our perception.
brewer.
Yeah.
I meant your perception as you, who is a brewer.
I think
your own thing.
I personally don't see an issue. Now, I know a lot of people complain and say, look, it's a lot cheaper in the supermarkets than buying it from the tap room. But the same argument is sort of drinking beers on draft. Like, you can get Guinness in the supermarket for, I don't know, a couple of quid a can, and you pay £6 in Mulligans. You don't see people sort of complaining, saying like...
That came up in our conversation the other day.
Yeah, it's for some reason, it's a bone to beat them with. People want to be able to beat the guys in the supermarket.
In my head, I've always seen it, and it's it's not a... If you're doing a craft Instagram thing, it's not the right thing to say. But my whole thing has always been I drink a lot of craft beer, but people don't, and you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you've got a cool selection that's just in Tesco while you're getting your bread,
In your
and
big
you go
shop.
oh shit, yeah, exactly. I think I said that.
Do
But
your
you
big
your
shop.
big shop, and you go, what? I really want that Northern Monk. What they had sticky toffee pudding stout that they put out for.
But accessibility as well. Like as much as we want to do the American model and fairly local, the thing it offers is, I think Russell from Northern Monk posted a photo a few months ago, and he was in a random place in the middle of the Highlands, and the local co-op there had Faith. Yeah. So you're there, you don't want to take all your beer up with you for a camping trip with the family, and like, I fancy beer, and there's a 4-pack of Faith in the fridge, and now you can get that and take it's really, really good beer, and you can drink that. And that's what it's given us as well.
That's the good thing. There's you can go to most supermarkets, and on a whim, you'll find something that you'll take a couple of cans.
Yeah.
Which is really good now. Because,
I think that's good.
Yeah, because before, if you didn't know a bottle shop, or you were going to go and get a growler filled, what would you do?
My only gripe is that beer tastes different when it's on the shelf. However, Morrison's have changed the game.
They got fridges.
With their fridges. Yeah,
so
that's good.
Yeah. Step it up. But
people coming to your tap room for a beer, there's more people doing that, experimenting with a different beer that they wouldn't have had before.
Yeah.
That have found that they like that. Just going to the supermarket. It just expands that audience, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Why do you not want more people to like the thing that you like?
But I think that I guess for some other craft beer people, it's the Dirty Brewdog name, innit?
Yeah.
Is that why you gatekeep on Madry so much? Madry's for me.
But it's Madry. But a lot of the argument is price point as well. But what I will say is, they will get it a little bit cheaper in supermarkets, but they'll also make less margin than a lot of independents, but they'll sell volume.
Yeah.
And from my experience in the industry, there's not many independent bottle shops turning around and saying, look, I want to do 6 packs of fog at this price. If I buy 20 cases off you, what price can you do it for? And I'll buy 20 cases every 2 weeks. Now, if someone's coming around and saying that they actually wanted to do, say like Bargain Boost Leyland or Beer Shelf, if it was like, look, I want to start moving volume rather than concentrating on the percentage a bit more, what sort of deals could you do? And suddenly you're selling huge volume to a local shop. You'd look at sort of helping support them so long as they implemented the promotion. And I think that's probably where I think the indie scene has to keep up a little bit, because in America and in Australia places, people were buying 6 packs or buying 4 packs, and it'll be slightly cheaper, whereas we just don't do it in the UK. We go in and we buy 5 or 6 individual cans.
Yeah.
And they're pricey because, they have to make the GP, know that they don't sell, the turnover's not as much. I think it'll just take one really good indie to be like, right, I'm going to start trying to push 6 packs or even 12 packs, and I'll accept less margin, but then I'll also go to the brewery and say, look, I want it cheaper, but I'll move volume for you. And I reckon a few could do it.
So one thing I wanted to discuss was your 500ml cans of 13% stout.
Yeah.
Because not that it's a bad thing.
It's a terrible thing.
No. It's like I would go to a pub and I ain't buying a pint of 13% stout.
Yeah.
And as a owner of a pub or whatever, that your responsibility is that you would only serve that in the right style.
Yeah.
So do you think we'll get to a point where we're serving we're selling cans in the right size as well?
Potentially, but we tried.
But it's difficult because you've just got 500ml cans outright.
Yeah, but we tried last year. We tried 330ml 4-packs. Sold awful. They almost went out of date. Just no one would pick them up at all. And we're like, look, we made less margin. We'll do a 4-pack for Christmas. I think we managed to get it down to 12 quid, which for a small brewery is pretty good going. And they just didn't move at all.
I think,
but it's.
Because I'm not complaining, but the annoying thing is, I'm contradicting you because I'm not complaining about a pint of dipper.
Sounds like you are.
Yeah, no, but I wouldn't go to a pub and buy a pint of dipper, but at home,
liar.
I'm reviewing a pint of dipper, right? But when it gets to a 13% stout, I'm getting to the end and I'm like,
fucking
slog this.
Yeah, it will be.
But I guess you're at the tap room, you're encouraging that you would share a can.
Yeah.
It's not just for that person, but
it will.
Do you think as people who own tap rooms, do you think there's a level of responsibility or anything for that, or do you think it's hard to do? It's hard to do because then you've got to buy different size cans and then.
Yeah, you got to buy different, and then you're looking at the sale on them and stuff as well. I think potentially, one of the things that will change, and a lot of it's been brought on by the new duty as well, is that we're going to start putting bigger beers into 375ml bottles. It's like our barley wine will have to do the same this year because duty has gone. We now have to pay full duty on anything that's over 8.5%. So the barley wine this year is 11.2%. If we put in a 750ml bottle, we'd have to retail at the tap at 25 quid. We're just not going to sell it. Yeah, it's double the duty from last year plus grain's gone up, hops have gone up.
He's doing that story that they do on in the papers every year. This London pub is selling a pint for 60 quid. No, they're not. No, they're selling a third of this, and it's like 40%.
But I think, and it was interesting actually.
Nuclear penguin.
All the import bottles for Farm Trip, they were all 375s.
Right.
Yeah, nothing was really 750 anymore. I think even 750 is kind of dying a little bit of a death because you crack it open, you're like, right, that's 11%. I've got to fight my way through for the next couple of hours.
It's a sharer, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a sharer, and you've got to find time.
I don't mind, like, for a table beer, it's a nice thing. Something you come back to, but
Yeah.
you're right,
It might be time for the 2/3 can. You could be the first. 2/3 can be.
Can?
Can you legally do that?
It's
You're
just
the first.
You have to get it
Add
made.
it to your list.
I
There you
guess-
go.
Exactly.
I get
The 2/3 1 can, 2/3 0.1.
I'm trying to do the maths in my head.
What's
It's
the
not working.
percentage that you make on that, mate? Is it quite high? Your take on the 2/3 can?
I'll take the third that's missing in
Right.
cash.
What is it? 1.
The 5.
This is the content people want to see. Trying to do maths on 2/3 of a pint.
Pub maths!
5, 6, 8
It's a Zach
divided by 3.
3 times 2.
None of us can do it.
Jason's adding. He's doing the maths now.
Maybe.
In our heads.
I'm not
do us a
just sat
favour?
there.
Will it be
But
378?
during this bit, would you just put there the video of, Zach Galifianakis and that? That just needs to be there, mate. In the gap, these standard gap. The
Or
pod
even
gap.
better, just put it round all our heads. That'd be great.
I'm going to have to use the calculator.
378 mil.
That makes sense. Because it's
Yeah.
less than 440 and it's
Yeah.
reaching up to a
2/3.
pint, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's 378 and 2/3.
Bastard. He just did that.
I know.
He did that. That's really annoying. That's really annoying.
He did proper maths, that's it.
Damn you, Brewers.
378. Hold on. There is a 375 can exists in the world.
That's not an American.
Yeah.
355. 355.
Is that 20 ounce?
Because American pints.
20 ounce or 16
American
ounce?
pints. 489, is it?
You're just saying numbers, guys.
Just throwing numbers.
I don't know what it is. It's different, but they do have
I work in
355
data.
cans.
But you're all just saying numbers.
Stop shouting numbers, everyone.
If you get a can,
Is that 12 ounce?
I don't know, mate. I don't deal in ounces. I'm
No,
from here.
my brain's going 20 ounces close to a UK pint.
We're not
Yeah.
Americans.
Short.
We don't know their
Yeah.
things.
Name the beer pint.
20 ounces short. So I
Big
think
pint.
it's a 12 ounce is a 355.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Was it 16 ounce?
On that note, I think we go. On that note, I think we go for a break and we come back with our next section.
Come back with a big
Well,
pint.
Jason he might have figured out what he's
Are
trying
you
to say.
having Vietnam flashbacks?
Metric Imperial.
You weren't there.
Metric Imperial.
Two Thirds One podcast.